I will start.
All right, welcome to the January 12th regular meeting of Alameda County LAFCO. I'm your chair, Splendid Spendorio, and please, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Surely. Commissioners Hobart,
Present.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Present.
Commissioner Johnson,
Present.
Commissioner Miley,
Here.
Chair Splendorio,
Here.
alternate Commissioner Carla Brown, or should I say Commissioner Carla Brown?
Paperwork to follow. I'm here.
Thank you. Alternate Commissioner Von Heater Leopold
Here.
and alternate Commissioner Marchand. Apologies for that.
I'm here.
Thank you. Let the record reflect, roll call has been taken and we do have a quorum.
Thank you very much, April.
You're welcome.
Today's meeting is being held via Zoom or teleconference. I think everybody's on Zoom. There is no physical location for this meeting. The commissioners will join the meeting via Zoom or by telephone. Members of the public may also call or Zoom into the meeting. All meeting participants are asked to please mute yourself unless speaking. I will call on the commissioners and the public at the appropriate time. All commission actions are taken by a roll call vote. I ask that commissioners identify themselves when making a motion or a second. All right, next is on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public comment?
Yes, we have one person.
All right, thank you. Whoever is, if you unmute yourself, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. This is Kelly Drew. First off, on this roll call vote, I don't know where you get this list of commissioners. And, you know, this is a very cozy club, very cozy. And this coziness, you know, when I go to the website for your commission, I see a list of commissioners. I see Tom Pico. I see Ann Wieskamp. I see Scott Haggerty. I see that every single one of these commissioners, their terms expired in 2021 or earlier. What the heck is going on here? I kind of have some expectation of, you know, the public might expect transparency, openness, authentication and verification of membership, some accountability, and a website that works. None of that is happening here. Let's talk a little bit about the Happy New Year. You know, as we do our strategic planning, let's talk about what should this commission be doing to ever figure out how to get a transparent list of your commissioners. You know, we talk about land use. Let's not rely on you know, zoning and designations. Let's look at the aerial images so that people don't get the idea that that there's a lot of you know, a lot of agricultural use or a lot of whatever kind of use that's not really there. You know, get out there, look at those satellites, get those aerials, get the whatever was needed, and actually look at the ground truth to assess the effectiveness of urban growth boundaries for the avoidance of urban sprawl. Watercourse protection. You know, we're not talking about that, but there's an over-reliance on septic systems here. You got this commission seems to a lot of the laws seem to you know, discourage the use of sewers. Probably sewers might be better for the environment. And how about the protection of water courses? Alameda County has removed half of its creeks and streams from its maps, the water course protection ordinance, and they did that 4 or 5 years ago. And this is and then finally, urban densification. There is a huge plan to densify. To put in very dense urban developments along major transportation corridors in the Tri-Valley. And that needs to be, you know, done openly. A lot of cities are just waiting to expand their boundaries and put up, you know, mini cities along freeways. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brew. Appreciate it. And I will state for the record that I checked our website and the commissioners' names and current members and terms seem to be accurate.
That's
all right. Any other public comment, April?
No further comments.
Thank you very much. All right. Recognition. This is going to be strange. recognition of dedicated service. The commission will recognize Commissioner John Marchand for his distinguished and remarkable service to Alameda County LAFCO. And I'm reading that right off the agenda, John. But let me hand it over to Rachel a little bit.
I will say, yeah, this is a little awkward, but welcome back, Commissioner Marchand, and thank you so much for your service as our alternate public member. You joined our commission as a alternate public member in July of 2021. You started right off the bat ready, helped us with our water, wastewater, the countywide water, wastewater MSR report. It was good to have you back since being our former city member as well. Definitely staff missed you. And I am just glad to have you back on, and your service as our alternate public member was very impactful, and thank you very much. And obviously, you know, you're great on this commission. So just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you. And it's sort of like the country western song, how can I ever miss you if you don't go away? You know, so I appreciate the recognition for serving as the public member alternate. I still have the award that you gave me as the outgoing commissioner, and so no additional hardware is needed. But I'm happy to come back. Mayor Brown was elected last night as the representative to LAFCO, and so wherever she needs to have me step up, and today I'll be stepping up as the alternate, so, or as the to take over. So happy to be here, happy to help out. LAFCO does some amazing work, and the mission to preserve agricultural lands and prevent urban sprawl is near and dear to all of us. So happy to be back. I guess I haven't really left. So love working with the staff, love working with all of you. And thank you very much. And it's great to be back.
Welcome, goodbye, and welcome, John. All right, any other commissioners or anybody would like to say anything? Oh, Georgine.
Well, I'll say welcome back, I think, John. Secondly, did we forget Anne?
I had the same senior moment, Georgine. And Rachel reminded me that we honored Anne and Bob Warner back in November, or yeah, I guess
Really?
yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad we didn't forget her. I just didn't remember we didn't forget her.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you very much. Again, welcome back, John.
Great to be back.
Consent items. The next item is approval of the consent calendar. Would any commissioners like to pull an item to discuss before a motion is made? Seeing none, the items are the approval of the minutes from November 10th, 2022, approval of resolution to continue the virtual meetings due to the COVID-19 pandemic, proposed contract amendment with Lanphier Gregory for the South Livermore Valley Agricultural study, and our quarterly budget report for fiscal year 22-23. Entertain a motion.
Brown moves consent approval as written.
Thank you. Second.
Von Heater, second.
Thank you very much. Roll call. Well, no, I should see, are there any members of the public that would like to comment on the consent agenda?
I do not see any.
Thank you very much. So roll call vote.
Commissioner Hobart,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Miley,
Yes.
Chair Splendorio,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
and alternate Commissioner Von Heater Leopold.
Aye.
Let the record reflect the motion passes.
Alternate Commissioner Marchand. Oh, well, I guess we don't need you yet.
Well, we may need him soon, but all right. So because we can't seem to keep the alternate public member in the job, we need to establish a an ad hoc selection committee to find an alternate public member. So the process here is we'll have a report from Rachel. Although I think for the lack of speed, for expediency, they're really, I mean, the process is we need to form an ad hoc committee. There's an application process. The committee will conduct interviews and make a recommendation, and we'll see how long that takes. But hopefully, by the time in 2 months, we might have someone. Did I cover it mostly, Rachel?
That is it. And I would just add, we need a county member, a city member, and a special district member to be on that ad hoc selection committee.
All right, I mean, I'm going to ask for volunteers, but I would, can you remind who was on the selection committee last time?
I would think it would have been Commissioner Halbert, Commissioner Johnson, if I'm correct, and then Commissioner Wieskamp.
Okay. Well, I'm looking for volunteers. Not all at one time.
Go ahead, Ralph.
Well,
Okay,
please note,
I volunteer John Marchand because he's on mute.
Right. So I'll volunteer if Georgine doesn't want to, so.
I don't want to. I'm president of both organizations this year, so.
Like I said, if you'll take an alternate, I'll be happy to step up.
I don't think there's any issue with an alternate, but
please note that commissioners now on ad hoc selection committees also receive a stipend due to our new policies.
Right.
Let that entice you a bit.
Yeah.
And let the record show that I did not know about that when I stepped up to the
Okay, so I think I have Johnson and Marchand. So I need either Commissioners Halbert or Miley.
You gotta have another one. You can't have two.
We
You
have to have a
have
county
one
member.
each.
county, city, and public.
I'll do it if Nate doesn't want to do it, but I'm happy to defer to Nate.
Nate?
I like the fact that Commissioner Halbert has volunteered to do it.
Okay, we are set. So for the county, we have Commissioner Halbert. For the city, we have Commissioner Marchand, and for the special district, we have Commissioner Johnson, and that's the formation of the ad hoc committee. Thank you very much. So we need a motion to confirm those appointments to the ad hoc committee.
Also move.
Thank you.
Brown seconds.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Oh, no, I should, are there any comments from the public? I'm sorry.
There is one public from the comment.
Yes, please.
Mr. Brio, you have 3 minutes to speak, please. Thank you. Mr. Brio, please unmute your mic.
Yes, your membership roster is incorrect, obsolete, and misleading. So if you're going to appoint an alternate member, I would hope that your roster could be correct. Now, the website that I'm looking at is co.alameda.ca/LAFCO/commissioners.htm. co.alameda.ca.us/LAFCO/commissioners.htm. Now it comes up on Google searches. Might be wrong, but if Google has it, got to be some level of authority there. Once again, wrong. It's just completely wrong. And, for you to have a wrong website up there, it's bad. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so I think we can go to roll call vote.
Commissioner Halbert,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Miley,
Aye.
Chair Splendorio,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
alternate Commissioner Von Heater Leopold.
Aye.
Let the record reflect the motion passes.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I will also note for the record that I am on our official website, and that is not its web address that Mr. Brew just gave. I don't know where he got it from, but it's not the official one. Okay, let's move on to Brown Act procedures for remote meetings. Alameda County LAFCO will receive a memorandum from Commission Council on approved amendments to the Brown Act and allowances therein to conduct remote meetings beginning March 1st, 2023. The item is being presented for commission discussion with the opportunity to provide feedback on related implementation measures. Andrew?
Excuse me, Chair, I'll take over for a bit, and if the commission has any follow-up questions, I will defer to our legal counsel.
Okay.
Massey.
Sure.
But just to provide a brief overview and get some discussion started, the traditional teleconference provisions in the Brown Act, as many of you know, as were amended by Senate Bill 2449, which only allows individual members of governing bodies to appear remotely on a limited basis due to unforeseen circumstances. A member is only allowed to teleconference twice per calendar year if the legislative body holds less than 10 meetings per year. And a quorum of the legislative body must also exist in person at the designated meeting location. The commission's next special meeting, the strategic planning workshop scheduled for February 10th, and its March 9th regular meeting will both be held at the Dublin San Ramon Services District. The district is not following Senate Bill 2449's guidelines and will adhere to the traditional guidelines of the Brown Act for public meetings. So staff is encouraging commissioners attend in person. There will not be any hybrid meeting options for these two meetings, these two upcoming meetings. Staff has requested meeting space at the City of Dublin's council chambers for the commission's May 11th regular meeting. The council chambers are equipped for hybrid meetings, so there will be that possibility if the commissioner does have an unforeseen circumstance to attend that meeting through Zoom or what have you. I would like to return the item back to the commission for discussion and feedback in regards to these new teleconference options for remote meetings. And maybe we could decide or get feedback on how we would like to move forward in regards to holding private or holding hybrid meetings, and maybe selecting a meeting location, whether to stay at Dublin San Ramon Services District or to move to the City of Dublin. And I'll return the item to the chair on that.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you for the report. Okay, comments. Any thoughts? Any reservations? Any observations? Any other words that end in IONS?
No.
Well, let me, I was hoping to hear from you elected officials, because I sat on the Alameda Health System Board, and we had a little bit of discussion about this last night. We're not sure what the governor is going to do. Maybe Andrew or Rachel, you can weigh in. We held off on deciding what to do. We were prepared to go back to live meetings. Well, right now we're hybrid, but we were prepared to go back on March 1st and then mention that perhaps the public emergency will be extended by the state, and we just didn't know. I don't know. Yeah, sure, Dave.
If I could share, the Tri-Valley Transportation Commission, TVTC, spoke about this the other day, and it's also it's a multiple county agency, includes Contra Costa County and Alameda County, but it is located to the Tri-Valley, so a similar size geography, I guess, east, Contra Costa County east, Alameda County, the Tri-Valley. And they decided that their recommendation was to allow for hybrid meetings, but we would all participate remotely. If they wanted to come in, I think they allowed for one of the agencies, City Hall, I think it's Danville City Hall, where staff might be located, but that otherwise every participant would be agendized from their public, and we're all electeds. So we all have a city hall or a public office that we could agendize. The discussion went along the lines of they would prepare the agenda that way. We would agree to post that way. We would agree to be in our office that way. And that way people could participate remotely, but they could also come in if they wanted to. The public would have full transparency and knowledge of our offices and the addresses that we were participating from. And that was the big change, is that while we don't have to do that now, we would have to do that going forward, because those are the pre-COVID teleconferencing guidelines, and we could do that. So that's what the discussion went there. It's a similar body to this. And so I think that would be my recommendation, that we allow for that. Of course, the discussion then will follow around, your operating procedures. Some bodies can get hours and hours of public comment because members of the public will call in. Do you want to place reasonable limitations on that? That becomes more of an operational discussion, but that was the recommendation from TVTC. And so I think that's where we headed with that group.
Any other comments?
A quick comment. So with Commissioner Halbert's scenario about opening up our city hall offices as the agendized place of the meeting, how would you handle, and of course operations gets into it, how would you handle someone who wanted to make a comment from your office?
Oh, are you asking
That's
me,
me.
John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
if
we have.
somebody wants to watch the meeting in a public, from your office.
Yeah.
How would they then speak? Would they take over your Zoom, or how would that work? Or is that just too far into the weeds at this point?
We haven't gotten that far, but as a group, in my mind, that would perhaps entail allowing them to use their own remote device, or providing a laptop for them, so that they could, a public laptop available to the public if they wanted to speak and make public comment in that way. I don't know what options there are operationally. That would be a good legal question and an operational question. Do they, wherever they're sitting from, could they just speak and be heard by all? I don't know. My guess is the lawyers will provide some guardrails around that, like the ability to speak and the ability to be heard by all. In my mind, though, it was provide a laptop that would allow them to do just that.
All right.
Can I also make a note here? So on February 10th, I believe, Rachel, is our strategic. I would encourage us to all agree that we shouldn't do that in person. It's just very hard to do a strategic planning exercise remotely. I just want to throw that into the wind, or throw that into the pile here, because it'll be difficult to do that. Now I'll call on Commissioner Hernandez. She had her hand up.
Thank you, Chair. How we're doing it in Stop Waste is, and how we did it before COVID, is that we always had the ability to call in, but only a certain amount of committee members were able to do that. And so what we did now to change things a little different, we kept the same strategic bylaws with regards to having remote in calling. But now we are letting as many board members as possible. So there's no limit. That's kind of more or less the same, the one item that we changed, and always giving the member of the public the opportunity to either call in by phone or to be there and present at the actual meeting.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Commissioner Brown.
Are you going to be limited to just 2 call-ins? Because if I understood the new state laws that you can only do that twice if you have more than 10 meetings a year, which is monthly meetings.
So two different things. Currently, the law with AB 361, which is the emergency legislation that allows the meeting that's happening today, where the public is excluded and can only participate via Zoom or call in, that's going away. And what will be left is the existing rules of the Brown Act, which have always allowed for teleconference meetings. But a condition of that, as Commissioner Halbert was describing, is that any location where a commissioner calls in must be open to the public. And so I believe that was the reason for Commissioner Halbert suggesting that it be done from a public office so that the public could come into a public office. You could call in from anywhere, but if you called in from your home, you would have to allow the public into your home. Additional legislation, AB 2449, is a minor amendment to the Brown Act. It is designed for in-person meetings where a commissioner wants to attend, but due to unforeseen circumstances, can't make it in, but nonetheless wants to participate in the meeting remotely. And so this would be, a medical emergency. I think a childcare emergency is one of them. And that has numerical limits on how often that can be done. But again, that's designed for you have an in-person meeting, you intended to attend the in-person meeting, you can't for some reason, and you still want to call in. It's not how to run meetings as a matter of course. It's a 1 or 2 off exception for unusual circumstances. If you're trying to devise a way to continue to participate in meetings remotely as a matter of course, the only option is the existing provisions of the Brown Act, which allow call-in from a remote site, provided that remote site is also open to the public.
Thank you, Andrew.
Would somebody like Spendorio calling in from his office that's open to the public because he's not an elected official? Could he do it from his business office if it's open to the public?
Yes, the only issue becomes ADA accessibility. Most of the public facilities are, if you're calling in from other than a public facility, there may be ADA accessibility issues. But other than that, you can call in.
Thanks.
Any other comments, thoughts? So we're okay with recommendation here. And I'll push a little bit on the, for February 10th. It just seems to be too unwieldy to have a strategic planning session where we're on Zoom. I mean, I know technically we can, legally we can, because we're not, that's before March 1st, but I really believe that we'll get more out of it if we're all together. Is that a consensus?
The agenda says it's going to be at DSRSD.
Right. Or City Hall. Which one did it say?
Sorry, that will be at Dublin San Ramon Services District.
Okay, thank you.
Says it
Thank
on
you.
the agenda.
Okay. So is that a consensus at the very least as to the strategic planning session?
Yes,
What
Okay,
time
great.
is it on the 10th?
9
9
a.m.
o'clock.
9 to 11 to 1.
9 to 1 on the
Yes.
11th.
All right. So then starting with our March meeting, we're okay with the as not the recommendation, it's just basically that's what the law is going to be starting March 1st. Should we, if that date gets moved back, what is our plan? Should we can just move forward with the plan, or should we continue on with the way we've been doing it over Zoom? What's the feeling of the commission?
Well, I guess I'm a little confused. We will be allowed to hold our regular meetings over Zoom from
No.
March 1st on? No.
You are, if you're in a public, but just like Andrew just explained, if you're in a public place, open to the public,
Okay.
yes, but if you're not, you can't do it from home, in essence, unless you post, you do all of the, you have accessibility, the whole, it's open to the public.
Do we need to have our locations published on?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
That was the old system. I assume that hasn't changed, right, Andrew?
Published and
That's
posted.
correct. You would need to list the locations from which you're calling in, and at those locations, the agenda must be posted.
I love that idea. I mean, literally, David couldn't make the meeting, but I was in a meeting half hour before this, and I've got somewhere to go right after. To be able to do this from City Hall is extremely helpful, but for a workshop like what we're talking about for a strategic meeting, I think everybody should do every best effort unless you have COVID or some other medical emergency, try to be there. And especially if I look at Nate Miley, for example, I mean, maybe he's meeting in Oakland at his office in Oakland. It's a big haul to come to DSRSD if he wasn't already planning on being there. Yeah, okay. Sticking up for you there, my friend.
Okay, so we'll stick with the plan that we've been presented by the staff and period. Or if the governor changes things, the health officer changes something, we're still sticking to the plan. Is that the consensus?
But
Okay.
let me,
Unless we
I
go in
just-
lockdown.
I just want to reiterate though, so the Friday, February 10th strategic planning workshop meeting, that will be in person and it will have no hybrid capability.
Right.
The March
Okay,
9th
clear.
regular meeting will have no hybrid capabilities as well. So that would be fully in person. Starting at our May 11th meeting, that will be hybrid and we can move forward with those hybrid.
Okay,
So if you would like us to change, if you like staff to change the March 9th meeting to hybrid, let me know now.
okay.
Is there a March 9th meeting and a March 10th meeting? Am I missing?
Yes.
There's a February 10th meeting.
February 10th.
February 10th. Okay, there we go. Okay.
Okay, is that enough guidance? Right.
I don't
so-
see why would March 9th not be allowed to be hybrid?
Because we're in DSRSD and that doesn't have the capability. But when we're in Dublin City Hall, it does have the capability.
Oh, wow. Okay, got it. Very good.
All right, do we have any? Go ahead. April, I was gonna ask if there's any public comments.
I don't see any.
Okay, all right, so that's sufficient feedback.
I just want one clarification for the record. On March the 9th, we're going to have it at DSRSD. That's not going to be hybrid. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
And then thereafter, it would be hybrid.
Correct.
As long as we're at Dublin City or a place with capability for it, yes.
It would be the Dublin City Council chambers.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move on to the next item, matters initiated by members of the commission. Is there any items? So at this point, let me give you, right now, we do not have a vice chair, because that was Mayor Warner. What we're gonna do is on our March meeting, we'll select a vice chair. We have historically, our commission has had a rotational priority or system. And the person that usually followed the public member was a city member. So at this point, I don't know if there's a policy that really memorializes that, but that's been how we've handled things.
That is correct, Chair. And we do have a commission policy on that.
Okay, so we have a policy. So it'll be, and I guess it has to be a regular member, so either Melissa or Carla. Okay, executive officer report.
Thank you, Chair. So it has come to staff's attention and trying to utilize our ad hoc Measure D committee that there are issues from the ag community on why certain land use designation was used in the East County area plan for resource management. It seems that a lot of folks from the ag community don't understand, or there isn't an outline specification for why certain parcels are marked as resource management rather than large parcel agriculture. So staff is suggesting and recommending that we use the ad hoc Measure D committee to convene and kind of try and figure out and get to the bottom of why that the specification was used, what's the criteria, and maybe give a recommendation to the county how to best move forward. In our ad hoc Measure D committee, we have members, Commissioners Halbert and Commissioners Marchand. We did have Commissioner Warner, so I don't think we need to add another member at this time, but staff would like to convene, and we'll be sending out an invitation to meet and discuss this criteria within the next couple of weeks, if that sounds good to the commission.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Is there the opportunity to add somebody, Rachel, if we wanted? For example, if I might recommend Splend?
I will defer to our legal counsel on that, just because it's not an action item. I would think we could appoint someone, but I just rather defer to commission counsel.
I'm not sure how many commissioners are on this committee now.
Currently now just 2.
We had 3.
So you could add one more, and then that wouldn't create a problem in terms of the Brown Act.
Okay.
I think Rachel's question, Andrew, was can
Can we replace that person? Yeah, I believe you can replace that person.
Okay. All right. I'll accept it if that's, but we can do it.
Okay.
The reason is we have a county representative, a city representative, and then a public representative. And so that's a good balance.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Next item, our informational items. Any comments about any of the informational items?
Your commission should solicit public comment on that
Oh,
last.
excuse me. Sorry.
On the executive officer report?
We do have one public comment.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Brio, you have 3 minutes to speak, please. Thank you.
Measure D was passed around 2000, and this is part of a long history. This kind of, oh yeah, let's loosen it up. Let's get rid of this when nobody understands it. You know, it's only been around for 20 years. And it was only passed by the voters. But how about if we go play around with the maps and loosen it up so that the resource management becomes large parcel agriculture? And we're getting this from who? The landowners? Landowners, yeah, landowners. The same people who want to shift around city boundaries to make it easier for them to develop, dams and lakes on their property. This is the kind of thing that's happening here. And, we got a good balance, right? We got a county representative, city representative, and a public representative who I'm sure is going to come from where? The agricultural community, or is it the landowner community or the developer community? How about from Ponderosa Homes or Shea Homes or somebody from there? Anyway, there are people in this county, I think you may even know them, who helped draft this Measure D, who are associated with environmental organizations. And this kind of, we're going to have an ad hoc committee and we're going to bypass those people. We're going to come up with a proposal. This is outrageous what you're doing here with Measure D, playing around with Measure D and trying to sneak it in to bypass all of the vast number of people who've been working on this for many years. I'm not one of them, but I know them. There's a lot of knowledge out there, a lot of experience on Measure D, and what you're proposing, your tinkering, is outrageous. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Close the public comment for that. Move on to informational items. Again, anything?
Thank you, Chair. I will just highlight that.
If I could just make a quick comment here, having been on the Measure D subcommittee, let me say that we did a tremendous amount of outreach. We did speak to the authors of Measure D. We did talk to the agricultural community. So we will undergo the same process that we did when we made the recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, but we did a tremendous amount of outreach to the agricultural community and to the authors of Measure D. So they were not ignored, they were not bypassed, and we will not do anything like that as we move ahead to answer their questions in the future. So we'll just do the same process that we did before, and that's what we do is we engage the community. Okay.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Agreed, John. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Rachel.
Thank you, Chair. Just a reminder that staff will be coming back to you to let you know that your Form 700 is due April 1st. Commissioners with terms ending May of 2023 is Commissioner Halbert, and it was Commissioner Brown. So I will check with the mayor's conference on that. I don't think we would have to reappoint you for that term. And also just that Alameda LAFCO, we did get a shout out for our work on the Measure D study, and that's featured in the Cal LAFCO quarterly newsletter. So just wanted to highlight that. And that's it for the informational items.
Okay, thank you. Good. Last is just adjournment, and one footnote to the vice chair. So my term ends in May, so whoever is selected as vice chair presumably will become the chair. I don't know if that's a threat or not. But, now you've been so warned.
Carla.
All right, guys, we're adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, I want that glass of Chardonnay. Now I got to pay you.
Ah, that's good. I'll still get you one. All right,
That's
take care.
decent.
See you,
Okay.
Carl. See you guys.